Hello my dear students, once again I welcome you all to your history online class. So again in today's class we will be doing the continuation part from your world history with chapter 9, that is talking about the Cold War from the year of 1945 till 1991. So if you have seen the first part of the video, so there with the topic like origin of the Cold War, what is exactly a Cold War, between which two powerful European countries that took place for nearly 46 years, and then talking about the process or the ideas done by both the countries in order to make them feel very superior, powerful in all the departments or the format. So in today's class we will talk about the three types of doctrine or the plan that took place after the Second World War, that is after 1945, two by USA and one by Russia, because Russia and America, they were like a rival against each other after the end of World War II, and then how there was a tension that was being created, there was a distrust, there was a mutual suspicion, at the same time there was also a internal conflict with propaganda war. So first we'll talk about the Truman Doctrine. Why Truman? Because during those times there was a president known as Harry S. Truman who formed a new doctrine of philosophy for America, helping all the smaller European nations from the Russia's spread of communism, and that took place on 12th of March 1947. So we see how it was been, this doctrine was been made by America, by Harry Truman, who was the US president, and its main aim was to protect all the independent nations from Russia, because Russia and America were having a Cold War, internal conflict as well as mutual suspicion. And we talk about that how the Truman Doctrine stood as a boon and it became a direct challenge to the Soviet Russia. It was an open challenge to Soviet Russia that they had made a new policy with a new doctrine known as Truman, whose main agenda or aim was to help all the independent nation. And then talking about that how this Truman Doctrine also helped two nations, first talking about Turkey and second talking about Greece. So they were able to help these two countries from Russia in the year of 1949 under the Truman Doctrine. Next we'll focus on your Marshall Plan, which was established in 1952. Even this Marshall Plan was made by one of the Secretary of US with the proper propaganda, with the proper knowledge, with the proper program as well as ideas that how it could really made a matter for America against Russia. So first we talk about the Marshall Plan, that how it had a scheme of economic financially of USA. So how to make the America's financial very strong, at the same time giving more concentration or importance on this economic, that is agriculture, land revenue and many other topic. Next we talk about that how ERP also was been formed, talking about European Recovery Program. Why European? Because mostly in the Second World War we see the European nation getting involved, except one Asian country, that is Japan. But keeping Japan aside, we see that how America also wanted to make a program, an organization for all the European nations to come emerge, and how America could really help those smaller European nations from Russia. So that was also a objective of this Marshall Plan. And the main aim, if we talk about the Marshall Plan, that was to improve the political life of America as well as the social life of the European countries. So that was one of the most important factor done by Marshall as a secretary for US in order to stay away or give a blow to this country called Russia. And after the Marshall Plan was formed, so communist nation or non-communist nation were given a chance to come and join this ERP, Economic Recovery Program, European, but many of the nations, like there was hardly like 18 to 20 nations, they joined non-communist nation, but Russia as well as some other countries, they did not join this ERP program, and ultimately there was also a Cold War that got existed for nearly 46 years. 1991 was the year where it got finished for 46 years, and finally America always stood as a barrier or as a obstacle against this nation Russia. And the last topic for today's class will be your of Molotov plan. So Molotov plan was actually a counter-attack formation or an organization done by Russia against America. So this was done by America, but this Molotov plan was done by Russia in order to counter-attack against America. So here we see with the Molotov plan that how Russia actually wanting to make all the Eastern Europe a unity. How a unity could also be made, but especially towards the Eastern European nation, not to the Western, but towards the Eastern nation. And we get to see that there were 9 nations under Russia getting help, and they also wanting to follow the communism policy or the ideas of Karl Marx. And its main aim of this Molotov plan was to form an economically united Eastern Bloc. So how to make a very good and strong wise related with the economic system, how to make their financial very strong, powerful, and for that a method or different types of tips or techniques was been given by Russia to all the smaller 9 European nations, but from the eastern part. And the last point that we see, that is foreign policies. All the foreign policies, whatever the protocol or whatever the agenda they had is in it. Talking about the Molotov plan, under Russia, all these 9 Eastern European nations, armed forces were actually under the control, under the supervision of this Russia. So how to have those smaller 9 nations at the same time, how to counter-attack America with whatever the doctrine, with whatever the plan they had already set up, and that went for a longer period of time. I hope you have understood for today's class the lecture, the summary voice that I gave you related with the Cold War. Till then, stay safe. Thank you and God bless.